Something has already shifted around you, even if you can't explain it yet. It's not loud, it's not chaotic, it's subtle, like the moment just before dawn when the sky hasn't changed color yet, but the night knows its authority is ending. This is not just another phase of your life. This is a rebuilding zone, a sacred construction space where heaven has been dismantling what could not go with you, reinforcing what must remain, and enlarging what was once too small to carry what is now approaching. You thought the delays were denials. They were reinforcements. You thought the silence meant absence. It meant focus. Every tear you swallowed, every night you stayed when it would have been easier to quit, every time you whispered not yet instead of never. Those moments were not wasted. They were structural supports being installed beneath a destiny far heavier than the old version of you could withstand. What is arriving now does not come to meet who you were. It comes to meet who you have become. And that is why the pressure increased before the release. Heaven does not expand environments first, it expands people. You were stretched emotionally so you wouldn't collapse later. You were refined internally so success would not distort you. You were pruned relationally so you wouldn't be distracted when alignment finally appeared. This is why certain connections dissolve without explanation. This is why rooms that once impressed you now feel hollow. This is why validation stopped satisfying you. Your appetite changed because your assignment changed. You asked for answers, but heaven chose to upgrade your perception instead, because answers without capacity become burdens. Clarity without maturity creates confusion. So you were trained in silence, strengthened in obscurity, recalibrated in loneliness. Not because you were forgotten, but because you were being prepared to stand without crumbling when recognition eventually finds you. Gold is not placed in fire because it is weak, but because it is valuable. And what you endured was not punishment, it was proof. You have not been waiting for your breakthrough. Your breakthrough has been waiting for you to become large enough to receive it without shrinking afterward. That is why survival mode has ended. You are stepping into assignment mode. You are no longer asking, why is this happening to me? You are beginning to ask, what is being formed through me? That question alone signals readiness. Right now, unseen movement is taking place. What feels quiet in the physical realm is active in the spiritual one. Access points are opening, resistance is loosening. What once blocked you is being repositioned. This next door does not open violently, it opens inevitably. And when it does, you will not enter wounded, apologetic, or uncertain. You will enter grounded, steady, certain of who you are, not arrogant, but anchored. Do not misinterpret difficulty as abandonment. Many of the losses you mourned were divine subtractions. Many of the closed paths were protections you will thank heaven for later. Many of the lonely seasons were consecrations, necessary spaces where your inner voice could finally become clear without interference. Heaven was not late. Heaven was early, preparing terrain before you even understood what would be planted there. Nothing you endured was overlooked. Not one tear, not one exhausted morning, not one moment you held yourself together by memory alone. Consistency mattered more than perfection, and you stayed. That alone qualified you. Now comes the shift from striving to placement, from chasing to attracting, from forcing to embodying. What belongs to you does not need persuasion. It has coordinates, and you are being aligned to them. Rest will require more faith than struggle ever did, because striving feels productive, but receiving demands trust. This next season will not inflate your ego. It will confirm your identity. You are not being elevated for applause. You are being positioned because others are waiting for what only you carry. There are lives tied to your obedience, deliverance attached to your voice, freedom hidden inside your yes. That is why resistance was fierce, not because of your past, but because of your proximity to purpose. And now hear this clearly. Small thinking cannot accompany you forward. Doubt cannot sit beside you. You cannot step into fulfillment with the posture of someone hoping to be chosen. You must walk as someone who understands. You were marked before you arrived. Belief is the passport now, not credentials, not approval, not perfection. Miracle territory always begins where comfort ends, and you are standing at that threshold. What the world has not yet witnessed is what happens when someone who suffered without hardening lost without becoming bitter, and waited without surrendering their softness, finally realizes they were never behind. They were being formed. This is not just a message. This is a moment of recognition. And moments like this do not repeat easily. Stay present. Stay receptive. Stay grounded. Because what was withheld is now released. What was delayed is now aligned. What was prepared is now ready. And so are you. And because you are ready now, the air itself seems to respond differently to your presence, as if reality has been holding its breath, waiting for the exact internal alignment that would allow the next movement to occur without damaging you. This is the part no one talks about. The moment after preparation, but before manifestation. The sacred pause where heaven leans in and watches whether you will recognize what is happening within you before anything changes around you. You may not see fireworks yet. You may not hear trumpets. You may not feel an instant rush of emotion, but something far more powerful is happening. Your spirit has stabilized at a new frequency, and that stability is what allows what is coming to remain instead of passing through your life like everything else did before. In earlier seasons, blessings would approach but could not stay. Opportunities would knock but collapse under pressure. Connections would appear but dissolve under misunderstanding. Not because you were undeserving, but because you were still becoming. Now something is different. You are not reaching outward as desperately. You are not gripping outcomes with fear. You are not bargaining with the future. You are standing still on the inside, and that stillness is authority. That is why the next movement does not need to rush. It trusts you. There is a reason your emotional reactions have slowed down, why things that once shattered you now only bruise, why triggers that used to control your behavior now reveal themselves without overpowering you. This is not numbness, this is mastery. You are learning how to feel deeply without being ruled by what you feel. And heaven requires this level of inner governance before releasing outer expansion. Because power without regulation becomes destruction, and influence without grounding becomes instability. You are being trusted now, not tested. That is the shift. Even now, unseen realms are adjusting their posture toward you. Not with suspicion, not with delay, but with recognition. The way a system recognizes an authorized user. The way a door recognizes the correct code. The way a call recognizes its carrier. You may feel moments of sudden emotion rising without explanation, brief waves of gratitude, grief, clarity, or release passing through you unexpectedly. Do not suppress them. These are not distractions, they are recalibrations. Old emotional residue is being cleared so it does not bleed into what is coming. The future you are stepping into cannot afford the emotional debts of the past. So they are being settled quietly, one by one, often without words. And here is where many people miss it. The greatest transitions do not always announce themselves with chaos. Sometimes they arrive with peace so unfamiliar that the mind becomes suspicious of it. You might catch yourself wondering why things feel calm when nothing has happened yet. That calm is not emptiness. It is clearance. It is the absence of resistance. It is the environment required for precision. What is coming next is not random. It is specific. It is tailored. And precision requires stillness. You are no longer in the phase of proving your worth through endurance. That season is complete. Endurance built your foundation, but now discernment will build your future. Not everything that comes toward you now is meant to be received, even if it looks good, sounds right, or feels familiar. This is where your growth will show, not in what you accept, but in what you decline without guilt, in what you walk away from without explanation, in what you no longer negotiate with, even if part of you remembers how badly you once wanted it. The ability to say no calmly is one of the clearest signs of spiritual authority. You will notice as this unfolds that certain invitations begin to feel heavy instead of exciting. Certain conversations drain you instead of energizing you. Certain paths feel constricting instead of expansive. These are not tests of temptation, they are confirmations of alignment. Your body and spirit are now communicating faster than your logic. Trust that. You prayed for guidance, and it came in the form of sensitivity. Do not override it just to appear agreeable or to avoid discomfort. Discomfort is not your enemy anymore. Misalignment is. This next chapter will also require you to release the habit of explaining yourself to people who are not assigned to understand you. Not everyone needs context. Not everyone deserves access. Not everyone will interpret your silence correctly, and that is no longer your responsibility. The version of you that over-explained was trying to secure safety. The version of you emerging now understands that clarity within does not require validation without. This is why your voice feels different lately. Not louder, but steadier. When you speak now, it carries weight. When you remain quiet, it carries even more. Do not be surprised if people begin to project onto you during this phase, assuming motives you do not have, expecting reactions you no longer give, trying to place you back into roles you have outgrown. This is not because you are doing something wrong. It is because your growth disrupts old dynamics. Your evolution removes familiar leverage. Some will adjust, some will resist, some will exit. Let them. You are not meant to drag anyone into the future with you. Those who belong there will find their way without force. You may also notice a strange paradox emerging. While your external circumstances may not yet reflect the magnitude of what is coming, your internal certainty is increasing. This is intentional. External confirmation comes later. Internal knowing comes first. If it happened the other way around, you would depend on circumstances instead of conviction. Heaven is teaching you to move from inner alignment, not outer evidence. That is how lasting expansion is sustained. There will be moments in this phase where old doubts attempt to resurface, not because they have power, but because they are unfamiliar with irrelevance. Thoughts like, what if this is just another buildup? Or what if nothing changes? Or what if I'm misinterpreting this? These thoughts are not warnings. They are echoes. Do not wrestle them. Do not argue with them. Simply observe them pass. They are remnants of a survival-based mindset trying to reassert control in a reality that no longer requires it. What you are stepping into cannot be managed through anxiety. It requires presence, and presence requires trust. That is why your nervous system has been healing alongside of your faith. That is why rest feels more necessary than hustle now. That is why forcing outcomes exhausts you faster than it used to. Your system is rejecting old operating methods because they cannot coexist with where you are going. You may begin to sense that timing itself feels different. Days moving slower or faster than expected, opportunities aligning unexpectedly, conversations happening at exactly the right moment. This is not coincidence. This is synchronization. When internal resistance decreases, life responds with precision. You are not controlling this phase, you are cooperating with it. That is why it feels lighter, even when it feels intense. Understand this clearly. The next doors that open for you will not look like rescues. They will look like invitations. They will not remove your agency, they will require it. You will not be carried across thresholds. You will be trusted to walk through them. And that trust is the true reward of this season. Heaven does not escort those who are not ready to choose wisely once they arrive. You are also entering a season where your discernment about people sharpens rapidly, not in a suspicious way, but in a clarifying one. You will sense intentions more quickly. You will feel when words and actions do not align. You will recognize when someone's presence brings peace versus when it brings pressure. This is not judgment. This is clarity, and clarity protects your future from unnecessary entanglements. Some people will misunderstand this new boundary you carry as distance or coldness. Let them. You are not withdrawing, you are consolidating. Energy is being conserved for what matters. Focus is being refined. You cannot carry everything forward, and you were never meant to. The future you are stepping into does not have room for distractions disguised as obligations. As this continues, you may feel an urge to simplify your routines, your conversations, your goals, your environment. This is not minimalism for aesthetics. It is alignment for efficiency. Complexity belongs to the learning phase. Simplicity belongs to the execution phase. You are moving from exploration into embodiment. And here's something crucial. Do not rush to label what is happening. Do not force it into timelines, names, or outcomes yet. This phase is still forming. Over-definition too early can distort the unfolding. Let it breathe. Let it reveal itself gradually. Trust that what is meant to be clear will become undeniable without effort. You have crossed an internal threshold already. Whether you consciously marked it or not, something closed behind you. You will notice this when you try to return to old coping mechanisms and they no longer work. When you attempt to shrink and feel uncomfortable doing so. When you consider abandoning yourself for peace and feel resistance instead. These are signs of irreversible growth. You cannot unsee what you now know. You cannot unknow who you have become. This is why patience now feels different from waiting before. Before, patience felt like endurance. Now it feels like anticipation without anxiety. That difference matters. One drains you, the other strengthens you. You are no longer waiting in fear, you are waiting in readiness. And readiness attracts responsibility. There will come a moment, quiet, ordinary on the surface, where you realize you are responding to life differently without consciously trying to. You choose yourself without drama. You speak truth without aggression. You rest without guilt. You trust without clinging. That moment is not small. That moment is evidence that the transformation has already taken root. What happens next will build on this foundation, not by overwhelming you, but by meeting you, not by surprising you, but by aligning with you. And when it arrives, you will recognize it, not because it is loud, but because it fits. Stay here, stay present in this unfolding. Do not abandon this moment by rushing ahead mentally or clinging behind emotionally. The continuity of what is forming depends on your willingness to remain grounded in now. Because the next layer is already moving toward you, and it is moving at the speed of your readiness, not your impatience.